The Galactic Council meeting had been droning on for 7 hours. Ambassador Thomas Miller of Earth shifted uncomfortably in his seat, designed for a species with 3 pelvic joints and a tail. The chamber's atmospheric mix, while technically breathable for humans, left him feeling like he was trying to breathe through wet cotton. The motion to recategorize Earth from Class 12. Deathworld to Class 11.5 is denied, announced High Counselor Vrilix, his translucent membranes fluttering with what Miller had come to recognize as smug satisfaction. The committee finds insufficient evidence that human civilization has reached the necessary threshold of biological and cultural refinement. This was the 4th rejection in as many cycles. Miller maintained his diplomatic smile, nodding respectfully, as the various ambassadors from Garden Worlds and Paradise planets exchanged knowing glances. Humans were tolerated in the Galactic Council, barely, but constantly reminded of their savage origins. Earth, with its punishing gravity, extreme temperature variations, aggressive microbiome, and predatory megafauna, was classified among the most inhospitable inhabited worlds in known space. The Council had been genuinely shocked when humans made first contact 70 years ago. Most species from such planets self-destructed long before achieving spaceflight. "If I may address the Council," Miller said, rising slowly to avoid triggering the defensive reflexes of the more skittish species. "While we accept the Council's assessment, we request clarification on which specific cultural benchmarks Earth has failed to achieve." Vrilix gestured with 3 of his limbs simultaneously. "Ambassador Miller, your people still engage in competitive physical activities that result in injury. You consume fermented beverages that temporarily impair cognition. Your entertainment media glorifies conflict. Need I continue?" Miller nodded politely. "Thank you for the clarification, High Counselor." As the meeting adjourned, Ambassador Reed of Alpha Centauri B, another human colony, fell into step beside Miller in the corridor. "How many times are we going to play this game, Tom?" she asked, her voice low. "They'll never upgrade our classification. They're terrified of us." Miller sighed. "The Council provides essential trade routes, technological exchange." "At what cost?" Reed interrupted. "They treat us like barbarians while extracting our resources and exploiting our labor because we can survive conditions their workers can't. Lisa, you know we can't." "Earth Command received a transmission from the Rigel outpost this morning," Reed continued. "The Tlaxian mining operation is refusing to pay our workers again, claiming cultural misunderstandings. 3,000 humans trapped on that frozen rock without compensation." Miller's diplomatic mask slipped. "That's the 3rd time this year. Meanwhile, we keep attending these meetings, wearing these ridiculous ceremonial robes pretending we care about their designated speaking tones and ritualized movement protocols." Reed gestured to their ornate council attire. "They will never see us as equals, Tom." The next morning, Miller entered the council chamber to find all 12 human and human colony representatives already seated, wearing standard Earth military uniforms instead of council robes. Admiral Jackson, Earth's military liaison, stood at the center of the chamber. "What is the meaning of this?" Vrilix demanded, membranes fluttering rapidly. "A demonstration," Admiral Jackson replied calmly. "High Counselor, the Tlaxian Mining Guild has once again violated its labor contracts with human workers on Rigel 4. This is not the proper venue for trade disputes," protested Ambassador Xick of the Meldorian cluster. "There are administrative channels, which have been ignored for 3 standard cycles," Jackson continued. "Therefore, effective immediately, Earth and all human colonies are suspending participation in the pretense portion of our relationship." The chamber erupted in confused chittering and vibrations. "Pretense portion?" Vrilix's translator struggled with the concept. Jackson nodded. "For 70 years we've adopted your customs, modified our speech patterns, restrained our physical movements, and generally pretended to be something we're not to make you comfortable. That ends today." Miller watched with a mix of apprehension and satisfaction as Jackson pulled out a sealed container and opened it. The room's atmospheric sensors immediately shrieked in alarm. "This is coffee," Jackson explained, pouring the dark liquid into a cup. "A stimulant beverage humans enjoy. We've been drinking synthetic substitutes to avoid offending species with heightened olfactory sensitivity. Ambassador Othel of the Floxy Confederation recoiled, their sensory appendages curling protectively. The chemical signature is aggressive. Like us, Reed said, standing to join Jackson. We come from a world that tried to kill us every day, for millions of years. Our biology, psychology, and culture reflect that reality. Jackson sipped his coffee loudly. We're reclassifying ourselves. Effective immediately. Earth isn't a death world. It's our home world. And we're no longer interested in pretending its harsh conditions didn't shape us into exactly what we are. This is highly irregular, Vrillich sputtered. Additionally, Jackson continued, all human military forces have been placed on standby. The Rigel workers will be evacuated within 24 standard hours, and the Tlaxian Guild will pay all outstanding wages plus compensation, or we will demonstrate exactly what makes humans from a Class 12 world so concerning. The council chamber fell, silent. This is outrageous, Xick finally said. You cannot threaten council members with military action. Miller stood up. We're not threatening anyone. We're simply no longer pretending that we're something we're not. Humans don't want conflict, but we're exceptionally good at it when necessary. Reed added, for decades, you've exploited our physical resilience while mocking our culture. You send us to mine your toxic planets, build in your hostile environments, and fight your border skirmishes, all while treating us as primitive curiosities. Consider this a cultural exchange, Jackson said. You're finally meeting actual humans, not the diplomatic constructs we created to make you comfortable. As the human representatives filed out of the chamber, Miller nodded to his alien counterparts. We'll return when the Rigel situation is resolved. In the meantime, I suggest reviewing the historical records of what happened to the last entities who underestimated humans because they found our culture distasteful. Behind them, the council erupted into chaos. But for the first time in 70 years of diplomatic service, Miller felt like he was truly representing Earth. Outside, Reed smiled. Well, that's done. How long do you think before they cave? Miller checked his comm unit, already receiving updates from the human fleet positioning near Rigel. I'd give it about 6 hours before they realize we weren't bluffing. And if they don't? Miller shrugged. Then the galaxy learns why Deathworlders stopped pretending to be cultured